Good evening, guys. How are you all?
I'm also good. I'm also good. I was waiting for today to start our new lecture. So definitely very excited about the class. Quite excited about this class. So Rishita Mehak, Deepen. Okay. So what we'll do is what we are going to do is I'm going to take you to the syllabus now. But before that, I'm going to tell you about myself. Just give me 2 minutes. Before that, I can just I'll just get the ACCA syllabus for your F4 law. So the scheme of things is going to be this way, that we are going to cover the global law, global variant, which includes portions of the English variant as well, right? So the common topics we'll do first, and then the ones which are extra in the English law, that we'll do, because I have a few people are from the England law version, and a few of you are from the uh, this global law variant. How many of you are doing global law variant, by the way? Yes, how many are doing global law variant? Rishita, global. So we'll start with global first. How many are doing global and how many are doing UK variant? Global. Deepen and Lakshya, what about you both? Global variant. So we'll talk about global variant first. Okay, what about Deepen? Okay, you've joined as a but anyways, you must have decided which variant are you going to do. So I want to know that. Global. Okay, so we'll talk more on the global variant. So yes, I've got the syllabus over here. Just one more minute. Okay. So let me take you to the part on my iPad. So this is class number 1, introduction and syllabus. Okay, so brief about myself. My name is Satyarth Prakash Dwivedi. I'm an ACCA member from past few years now, and I'm an ex PwC. I've worked with PwC for almost 4 years into their statutory audit department. I'm also a qualified lawyer and hence the interest to teach you law. I'm also a qualified lawyer, Indian law. So I've qualified Indian law. Actually, Indian law is taken from UK law only. So most of the things that I'm going to tell you, you'll find them to be very similar. Right? You'll find them to be very similar to the Indian law. So, and I'll also keep quoting things from the Indian law. So yeah, you're going to find things quite, similar to the Indian law. Also, prior to being into full-time learning and development, I was a deputy manager with a New York listed company, deputy manager finance with a New York Stock Exchange. Have you heard of it? Yes, NYSE. So this company was NYSE listed. The name was IGC, India Globalization Capital, and I was taking care of their finance. And I had a team of 5 people. But I left all of that to pursue my interest into, learning and development, teaching students. So yeah, and I've qualified ACCA. I'm a lawyer, and it's been 8 years since I've been teaching. 8 years into training. That's quite a lot of time. I still remember my first class. I was so tensed about how it is going to go. It was basically, it was a BCom class. I still remember, and I was teaching statistics back then to a BCom student. BCom or BBA? I think it was a BBA class, and I was teaching statistics back then. So I've been 8 years into training. It's been a long time, and yeah, so that's it about me. And what else? So yeah, it's been good. Yes, also I've had all India rank holders I've had as my students. So September 20, and December 20, both AIR 2 PM were my students, all India rank holders. And since then, I've been giving consistently. My students have been scoring very well, thanks to the Almighty God. Yeah, it's been a great ride, a bit bumpy though, but that's how life is. Life is never a straight line. Life's never a straight line. How many of you have seen an ECG machine? Have you seen an ECG machine? Yes. I think I've got more people joining in. Have you seen an ECG machine? Yes. Based in Dubai. Okay. No, you've not seen. So, an ECG machine will, keep showing these things. The graph reads like this. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Then it goes up and down. So you must have seen. What happens if the graph becomes like this then? What happens when the graph becomes like this? Over. So that's how life is, and that's how life should be. Most of us think life is going to be, when we are having a great time. Right? When we are having a great time, we think life is going to be like this. Life is going to be, whenever we are having a great time, we think life is going to be like this. When we are having a bad time, we think life is going to be like this. But life is neither like this nor like this. How is life? Life is going to be like this. It's going to be like this. It's going to take a lot of time before you take off. So whenever things are not going your way, don't worry. It's all going to fall in place. What you've got to do is keep your eyes on the goals. What do you want to become? Right? What do you want to do in life? Okay. So life goes up, then goes down, goes up, then goes down. When we are having a bad time, we are so scared. We think life will always be down. I've struggled so much in my life. I used to think that I'll never come out of it. Honestly, for 8 years, I struggled. 2012 to 2020, I kept on struggling. And it was during that struggling phase that I developed this art of teaching. And I thought I would, there was a time in my life when I had just two students paying me just one 1,000 rupees a month. And for almost like 2 to 3 years, it went like that. So, and I used to think that life will never be fine, be better again. But life did get better, and I did, come out of it. I qualified ACCA. I became an ACCA member. I did get a very good job. I did get a very good exposure. Yes, I did earn a substantial amount of money as well, which was by God's grace. But you've always got to remember, life will go up and down. So yeah, on that premise, we'll begin our first class, which is class number 1. So that was my introduction. Anybody who wants to say anything? Yes. Can I have, very quickly, can I have your introduction? Yes. Can I have your introduction very quickly? Yes, guys, come on. Can I quickly have your introduction? Everyone, just tell me 3 things. Your name I can see. Tell me where you are from. What are you doing currently? BCom, class 12, whatever. And then tell me, how did you get into ACCA? Okay, Deepan says, okay, working in sales, part-time actor. Wow, writer, director. Oh my God. I think I'm going to need you. Do get in touch with me. Sadhvi, okay, Sadhvi is from Amritsar doing BSc in economics. CA inter dropout. High five. I am from Aligarh, UP, and I am doing BCom and ACCA now. Great, great. I'm also CA. I'm CA final dropout. So I dropped out after CA final. But it's okay. It's good. Lands you somewhere. Mehak, student at ACCA and Delhi University. Which college are you from? Or SOL? Kolkata. Currently doing BCom and ACCA. SOL. Okay, great, great. Khushi, BCom, Ramjas College. Oh my God. What was your percentage? That's great. Ramjas is a nice college. Very nice college. 99. Khushi. 99 percentile. Okay, anyways. So we'll deepen 98%. Just okay. That's a lot of marks. Okay. So we are going to study corporate and business law. This is the syllabus and study guide. One of the most important things that you want to go through before you start studying. This is one of the most important things that you want to go through before you actually begin to do law, begin to study law, right? I happen to be from a family of lawyers. My father is a lawyer in Delhi Supreme Court. My brother is a lawyer in Delhi High Court and Supreme Court. He's an advocate on record. And my mother is also a lawyer. She has been a judge. My wife is a lawyer. So everyone is a lawyer in my family. Apart from me, everyone is a lawyer. Everyone is a lawyer. Okay. Now, this is the subject number 4. So all of you have either completed 1, 2, and 3, or you've got any exemptions. I don't think you've got exemptions. You must have completed BT, MA, and FA. right? Now this is law. Law is going to be a 2-hour exam, right? So, and it's going to be 2 hours and it's going to be tested for 100 marks. Now, one very important thing that I want to tell you, these are going to be multiple choice questions that you're going to get in the exam, right? How many minutes are there in 2 hours? Yes. 2 hours is how many minutes? Yes, guys. 2 hours is how many minutes? 120. Very good. Very good. 120 minutes and 100 marks. So how many minutes do you have per mark? 1.2 minutes. So for a 2-mark question, how many minutes do you have? For 2 marker, 2.4 minutes. And I think this is enough to properly read the question. Now, most of the students, the problem why they fail in this exam is because they're not paying attention to the questions that are being asked. The students are not paying attention, and which is a worrying thing for me. If you want to complete your ACCA in time, you have to develop the art of reading, the art of interpretation. And you know, if you ever happen to do LLB, does anyone here plan to do LLB? But if you ever happen to do LLB, you'll have to read a lot and you'll have to interpret a lot. So, you know, that gives you a very solid practice to read and interpret. So right now, I would request you all to start reading as much as possible. You know, a lot of people tell me, why do you read so much in the class? When we are in the class, why do you read so much? And even not just me, I make students also read a lot. One of the reasons is that anybody who's been to a gym, have you been to a gym? Now, why do you go to the gym? To keep your body 6 a.m. club. You are the 6. No, I am not in the 6 a.m. club. I am a nocturnal animal and I like staying up at night. So evening, so 6 o'clock, it's like almost afternoon for me. I start my day very late, but I stay up at night and I do a lot of work during the night. Okay, then great deal then. Deal. But one thing with me is that, you know, if I have to work and when I do have work, I don't look at the time. You know, I keep working for even sometimes 24 hours. I keep working for that much time. I do work a lot. I constantly work 16 to 18 hours a day. Constantly. It's not just 1 or 2 days. For months and months, I work like that. So yeah, I think that's why my 6 a.m. is not. I think we have something inbuilt in us that, you know, some people are good at waking up in the morning, some are good at, you know, working during the night. Okay, no problem. So yeah, so what was I saying? What was I telling you? Yeah, have you been to a gym? So gym is to keep your body fit. Gym is to keep your body fit. And similarly, when you read, it keeps your mind fit. It keeps your mind very sharp. So it's very important that you keep reading. Reading is a very important thing in life. Read anything. Read lot of books. I read loads and loads of loads and loads of books. I mean, I can pick up anything and start reading. You know, I don't need to, you know, have first an interest in that topic or anything. I can just read and I can just start reading. And for those of you who are not able to read, I'll tell you a very good way. What you do is just read for 5 minutes daily. Can you take out 5 minutes in your life every day? Can you do that? 10 reels. That is how much 5 minutes is. You scroll 10 reels, 5 minutes gone. Can you read? Can you take out 5 minutes every day? Just give me a minute. Yes. So you read for 5 minutes every day. Once you do that, you start doing small things every day. You start gaining little things. And one day you'll not even notice you would have read 500 to 1000 books. You start doing small things every day. And then, one day you would have made a huge castle in the form of books. The wealth of knowledge that you will have is going to be great. Just read 5 minutes. Just give yourself that 5 minutes every day. Once you do that, it's going to enhance you and your skills. Okay. Now, see, ACCA qualification does not prescribe. It does not prescribe or recommend any particular number of hours, because study and learning patterns, they vary, greatly between people and organizations. It also recognizes the wide diversity of personal and professional, because someone might be very good at English, because these exams are going to be held in a language which is not your mother tongue. Yes or no? I think some of us speak Hindi very fluently. I am very comfortable with Hindi. But yes, I do speak English and I am fluent in English, but I'm very comfortable speaking Hindi. Right. And I think that is our, that is my mother tongue. You could be speaking Punjabi very fluently. I think someone told me they are from Amritsar. Who's from Amritsar? Laksha is from Kolkata. So I think Laksha would be speaking Bengali very fluently. Someone is from, I think somebody is from Amritsar, Punjab. Harkirat. So Harkirat, someone is also from Amritsar. I think someone just told me that they are from Amritsar. Who's from Amritsar? But let's take the example of Harkirat. Harkirat is from Punjab, right? And he is, he might be very fluent and very comfortable in Punjabi. Not everyone can be very comfortable with English. So we'll take our own sweet time. So that's why ACCA does not prescribe any time per se, right? As a member of IFAC, so ACCA is a member of IFAC, which is International Federation of Accountants. ACCA is a member of that body. It seeks to enhance the education recognition of its qualification on both national and international education framework. In doing so, ACCA aims to ensure that its qualification is recognized and valued by the governments, the regulatory authorities, and employers across all sectors. If you look at India, the industry, if you look at industry in India, industry recognizes ACCA to a great extent. For example, in the Big Fours. How many of you have heard about Big Fours? Yes. How many have heard about Big Fours? Particularly Big Four, they are the greatest employers. They're the biggest employers of ACCAs in India. If you look at India, ACCAs, Big Fours are the biggest employers, right? So authorities and employers all across all sectors. To this extent, ACCA qualification is currently recognized on the education framework in several countries. Khushi Mehak. Okay. So it's one of the biggest employer. Big Four almost, more than, it employs more than 100,000 people. If you take Big Fours all together. So, and majority of those are either chartered accountants or ACCAs, right? So each syllabus is organized into main subject heading, which are further broken down to provide greater detail on each area. Now, what is the structure of the qualification? I think when you joined ACCA, someone must have told you. So you've got firstly applied knowledge, which consists of BT, FA, and MA. BT, FA, and MA. So you must have qualified that. Yes. Then we come to applied skills. You are at applied skills level right now. So when you look at applied skills, there are 6 subjects, which includes corporate law, which currently we are going to do, corporate and business law, then FR, financial reporting, then financial management, taxation, performance management, audit and assurance. And you are going to meet me in corporate law. We are going to meet in corporate law, in audit and assurance, and performance management. These 3 subjects you are going to meet me. The other 3, someone will tell you. So these 3 subjects you are going to meet me as far as skill level is concerned. Applied level, BT, I think, who taught you BT? FA and MA. I think Anshu ma'am teaches either, I think Anshu ma'am teaches MA or FA or BT. Anushka ma'am teaches business and technology and FA. FA, I think FA, I am not sure who does, but these 3 subjects you are going to meet me. Taxation again, I think taxation again, Anshu ma'am. Anshu ma'am takes taxation, and then FR, FM, I think Shilpi ma'am takes, right? Then you come to the strategic professional level, where I have the least amount of indulgence. I just take advanced taxation. That's it. SBL, I think Shilpi ma'am is going to take. SBR, then other subjects you are going to do. So out of these 4 subjects, I am going to meet you if at all you take advanced taxation. One, there is a benefit of taking advanced taxation for me per se, for teaching advanced taxation. Can I take offline classes? Offline, I love taking offline classes, but somehow we have online classes, but definitely I can take offline, but we need the, the kind of strength that should be there. That strength, that student strength should be there. In an online class, students can join from all over India. But offline class, not a lot of people join, and that's a bit of a problem. I can take, definitely. We can have a session once in 2 months, 1 month, right? We can definitely have an offline session once where you guys can come, we can chit chat, meet, right? Yes. So one of the benefits of taking advanced taxation is, see, ACCA students, generally, I also, recommend it that they do SBL, SBR, then they do AFM, APMs. Some take AAA. That's also okay. ATX is taken by very few. And most of the ATX students are chartered accountants. And they clear in one go. Most of them clear in one go because they've already cleared chartered accountancy. Either they are working in UK tax or they have something to do with UK tax. So that's why it is a very comfortable area for me. It's pretty comfortable for me taking ATX. Then along with all this, you also have to do EPSM, Ethics and Professional Skills module, which I think after skill level, everyone should do because it prepares you first of all for the SBL paper. It prepares you for the SBL paper. And also it's a requirement for attaining your membership, right? Now, practical experience requirement. So, you need 3 years of PER, 3 years of practical experience, right? So apart from EPSM and qualifying all of these, to attain membership, you will need 3 years of practical experience record, which has to be recorded on the MyACCA portal. Do all of you have MyACCA? Yes or no? Everyone's got MyACCA? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, that's great. So if all of you have MyACCA, then I think you and if you've started working already, then you should take up the task to start recording your PER, because one of the best things I find about the ACCA course is that it allows you to take up any experience and record it in the form of PER, right? Right. So, and also if you see, we have another program called the FIA route. Have you heard about the FIA route? Yes. Have you heard about the FIA route? Yes. Have you heard about the FIA route? Okay. Let me tell you, this is right after class 10th. We are going to have a webinar on 26th of August for the FIA route. So this is right after class 10th. You can start your ACCA right after class 10. We're going to have a webinar. And if any of your brother, your sister, or anyone, your cousin, your friends, or friend's brother, friend's cousin, anybody who's right now in class 10 and they're interested in doing ACCA, they can join this webinar. And I will only be taking this webinar on on the 26th of August. It is at 6 p.m. So you can tell them to join, and we'll be sharing the link in the groups, in the WhatsApp groups. You can share it with them so they can register and join, and they can know about the FIA program. Okay. Yes. Fine. Okay, let's move on. Now, guide to the ACCA exam structure. I've already told you, right? So passing mark is 50%. You need to attain at least 50% marks to pass, right? Then we come to the applied knowledge, applied skills. This we have already discussed. All these levels we've already discussed. Strategic, professional. Now also, apart from apart from these, all of these, the optional exams are there. So again, at the P level, you have 20 marks worth of professional skills marks. So now your optional exams will be of 80 marks, which will test your knowledge, and 20 marks will test your professional skills. But that's not applicable to you. That will be applicable once you reach the professional level. Okay. Not before you reach the professional level. So once you reach the professional level, it will be applicable to you. Okay. Right. So this I have already told you. Time management. So take time to read questions and plan your answers. So you'll only have MCQs, which is a good thing, but still you'll need to read and understand and interpret wisely. So take time to read. Do as many questions. Do as many questions as possible. Do as many questions. Internship, I think you can start after F4. After F4, start looking out for internship, PER, anything, any job you get. Start looking for it. And we also keep posting jobs regularly. So do watch out in the groups. I've seen a lot of people exit the groups once they are done with a particular subject. But I would recommend that you don't exit the group. You keep doing it. You stick to the group. Which profile you can go for? Any audit, tax, financial management. You can go for private equity. You can go for stock market profiles. You can go for trader profile, equity analyst, any profile that you get. Offshore roles, accounting roles, audit, accounting, tax. That's the bread and butter of ACCA. Audit, accounting and tax. Audit, accounting and tax. That's the bread and butter of ACCA. So you can go for any of those roles, right? Yes. Okay. Now exam assessment. So I think we've done this pretty well. Okay. Now corporate and business law. When you read corporate and business law, the SBR exam, the audit exam, there are few glimpses from this corporate and business law, because a lot of things about the auditor's appointment are asked in audit and assurance. Even in the FR exam, because here we teach you company law, Companies Act, and the entire accounting and everything recommended as per IFRS is is there in the Companies Act, right? Even compliance profile, some of you can opt for, and you can find out more. You can search. I regularly post videos on the job opportunities that are available. I regularly post videos, so you can search with my name and you can find out the job opportunities as well. Okay, you can find out about the job opportunities which are there. We keep posting on the groups as well, and on my this thing also you can find out the job opportunities, right? Then the approach. So first of all, section A, there's no section B, right? So you'll have 25 2-mark objective test questions. Okay, there is section A and section B. 25 into 2, 50, right? Then there is 20 into 1 mark objective test question, which is again, both of them are MCQ, but these 25 question will be direct questions. This will be a case-based question. But again, the case will not be as important as the law, but you have to apply the law to the case, right? So these will be generally case-based questions. Section B again, 5 into 6 multi-task questions. So not necessarily a multiple choice question. This is going to be a multi-task question. If you look at this, this is not necessarily MCQ. This is MTQ. This is MTQ. So they might ask you, to match the two. So anything they'll give and any related thing they'll give and they'll ask you to match it. They can be any task. Okay. Yes. Have I made myself clear till this point? Yes, guys. Great, great, great. Okay, so now we'll go on and start with the syllabus. So what are the different parts of the syllabus? We've got A, B, C, D, E, and F, G, H, right? So these many we have. H parts, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So that is 8 parts. So your syllabus is basically it's divided into 8 parts. But I'll tell you a very good way to go about the syllabus, and we'll be able to finish it in time. So I generally assume 3 months to finish up the syllabus. Our class is going to be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 to 9. So this is going to be the timing of our class, and we are going to generally take one break in between, which is going to be a 15-20 minutes break. Okay, right, fine. So let's come to the syllabus. Before we go on our break, I would like to discuss the syllabus with you. Now first is essential elements of a legal system. So we'll be teaching you about the business systems. So how economic systems work, how political systems work, and how legal systems work. So basically in an economic system, you'll find mixed economy, you'll find controlled economy, and you'll find capitalist economy. Capitalist, socialist, and mixed, right? So capitalist, controlled, and mixed economy, right? Then there is international trade, legal, regulation, and conflict of laws. So international trade, basically you're going to study about a lot of the international trade terms, the international organizations like the United Nations, the UN Citral, the World Trade Organization, and all of these. Why were these made? And I'm going to give you history about them as well, which is not there in your syllabus, obviously. But when you understand the history, why was something made, then only you can appreciate that whether it is still relevant or not in today's context. For example, if you look at United Nations, how many think that United Nations is relevant in today's context? How many of you think that UN is relevant in today's context? Yes, tell me. how many think United Nations is, relevant in today's context? How many of you know what is United Nations? UN, UNO. How many know what is UNO? We are going to read about UN also. But it was made to establish international peace. But I don't think it is relevant anymore. After looking at the, events in Afghanistan, events between Russia, Ukraine, between China and Taiwan, I seriously have doubts over how relevant the United Nations is. The European Union, which is bound to fail one day. I am pretty sure European Union is bound to fail one day. Anyways, then we are going to read about alternate dispute resolution mechanisms, which are arbitration, mediation, and conciliation. So these are the three alternate dispute resolution. We are going to study about what is the model arbitration law, which is again very, very important as far as the international law syllabus is concerned. Okay. Anybody? Any questions till this point? And when I'm asking you something, it's not important that you are right or wrong, but what is important is that you should answer. Please take it from now onwards. Everyone is going to answer. Yes, please. When I'm asking you, don't worry if you're right or wrong. You may be right, you may be wrong. It does not matter. But what matters is that you answer. I'm very happy when students are answering. But when you don't answer, if you are right or wrong, that's a different thing. Okay. Now, next is international business transaction. So introduction to the UN Convention on Contracts for International Sale of Goods and ICC Incoterms. Generally, it is known as UNCIG. UNSCIG. UNCIG. UN Convention on Contracts for International Sale of Goods. Then there are obligations of the seller and there are ICC Incoterms. So if you've ever worked into export and import, you must have heard about X Works, CIF, right? So these are all Incoterms. So we'll discuss about those as well, right? Now, then the part C, which is transportation and payment of international business transactions. So we'll be studying about transportation and payment of international business transactions. So how transportation happens, what are the documents? So generally the most important document is bill of lading. Okay. So BOL is the most important document, right? Then formation and constitution of business organizations, which includes agency law, partnership, corporations. So this is the different types of businesses. Then formation and constitution of a company. Okay. Now, next is capital and financing of the company. So how companies are financed, what type of capitals are there, share capital, loan capital, capital maintenance and dividend law, then management, administration and regulation of companies. So who are the company directors, who are the other officers, what are company meetings and resolutions, then the insolvency law, so law and administration, and last is corporate fraudulent and criminal behavior, where particularly we are going to read about insider trading. One of the personalities whose demise has it has shook the entire nation recently. Can anyone tell me? It was a very very big personality in terms of the financial markets. Yes, can someone tell me? Yes, Mr. Rakesh Jhandewalan. Mr. Rakesh Jhandewalan. But this guy Rakesh Jhandewalan, he was a repeat offender of insider trading. He repeatedly used to be an offender, and he used to settle his claims with the SEBI very, very frequently. So this guy was a repeat offender. there are good and bad parts to everyone. Right? So there are good parts and there are bad parts. You've got to take the good, leave the bad. Nobody is perfect. Everyone's got flaws, right? So that was your syllabus. You want to read the syllabus further. There is a detailed study guide on what you need to study, right? But I'm not going to give more time. What does it mean, sir? What does what mean? Repeat offender. Repeat offender. So repeat offender is a person, who keeps making the same, who keeps committing the same crime. For example, if you indulge in insider trading once, I'm like, okay, once, okay, fine, we can settle and done. And then that will be it. You do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, which makes you a repeat offender. So Mr. Jhandewalan was a repeat offender of insider trading. He used to, because obviously he was privy to a lot of, what is privy? What is privy? Yes. Do you guys know what is privy? Privy means basically that it means that a lot of private information is available to you. So he was privy to a lot of information. For example, he held more than 1% of multiple companies. And when you hold more than 1%, you become a significant shareholder, right? You have significant interest. Not that from the holding company or associate point of view, but then again, you more than 1% is significant. Generally, in regular terms, it is a significant interest. So lot of insider information you get to have when you hold that kind, because obviously then you can meet the MD, then you can meet the CFO whenever you want of a company. Right? So that's why he was privy to a lot of insider information, and that is one reason this guy could amass such wealth. Because in the share market, you will don't ever rely on tips, because tips are something that are being sent to you. You're not finding them out. When you want to invest in share markets, read annual reports, read lot of annual reports to become a best investor. Even Mr. Warren Buffett, who is world's greatest investor, he says that the only source of information and the most reliable source of information till date is the annual report of the company. So he keeps reading those annual reports, and there is so much of information in the annual reports. You will take 10 days to read one annual report initially. Have you ever gone through an annual report? I would say you go through an annual report. You'll find lots and lots of things, and read 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. At least read 10 annual reports before you start investing. Don't go on any tips. Tips are harmful to wealth. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed that session. We are almost on the verge of taking a break. So we'll take a 20 minutes break and then we'll be back. Okay. Yes. Yes. Is that okay? Great. So 7:02. Let's be back at 7:20:22. Fine. Okay, guys. So I'll see you in like 20 minutes. Bye-bye. Okay. Are you guys back? Yes. Are we back? One, two, three. Great. Fine. So let's start with chapter number 1. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll just open. I'll have to ask them for the book. This is the kit. How many of you have the updated book? How many have the updated book? Not yet. I think you should get it. Just give me a moment. I'll just ask them to, give me the book. Just, just give me 2 more minutes. Okay. So I've got the old book. I'll have to ask them for the new book, but doesn't matter. Nothing much has changed. In fact, nothing has changed. So you can be assured that even if you have this book, it's okay to have this book also. So, so we are going to start with chapter one, which is again part A. Chapter one is business, political, and legal systems. I think Rishita or someone, Mehak, I think you only shared this with me. I have the same. I have the same edition, but I will be getting the latest one very soon. So I would request you to update your edition, right? In case there are differences. So, but I don't think that much has changed. Okay. Okay. So the first thing is business, political, and legal system. So now talking of the concept of global law, the concept of global law. Now, what is the concept of the global law? Now, see, there are international laws. Why do you need international laws? Tell me. Because if you look at India, right, India has its own laws. India has a constitution. India has its separate constitution, right, to regulate accounting. Okay, you can say that to regulate accounting, not necessarily. India has a constitution. India has its own various acts. India's got its own parliament, right? Very importantly, suppose you're doing trade with a country like South Korea. Now you have to import and export. Yes or no? You have to import goods and export goods, right? You're going to export and you're going to import. So in both these cases, in both of the cases, you will have to, have some common law on which both of us can trust, that in case there is a dispute, we can resort to this, or what laws or what rules will apply when we are doing international business. Okay. So there are national laws. Mostly, mostly laws will be national laws, right? But national laws, where are they made from? Every country has taken its law from three types of laws. It's either uh, common law. There are three types of law: common law, civil law. So common law generally is followed in UK, US, India also. India has taken some inspiration from the common law. There is civil law, which is followed across Europe, and there is Sharia. Sharia has. Have you heard of Sharia? It's a religion based law which is based on the religion of Islam. It is the only legal system which is based on religion, the only system. Otherwise, common laws is a system of precedent. Civil laws generally, they have been the, whatever the king from the Roman era, Roman Empire, from the Roman Empire, whatever the king used to say in Europe. If you look at Rome, which is Italy, Italy has ruled the world at some point, right? It was the longest reigning empire, Italy. But now what has happened to Italy? Everybody knows they don't have any money. They don't have anything. Just keep on taking more and more loans. And it does not make any sense to, be Italy or be Italian for that matter. Even in India, if you are Italian, if you have an Italian lineage, you know, you'll never become the prime minister. So that's one thing. That's one way of looking at it. But common law is generally what the precedent always said. Precedent are case laws. So we'll discuss about each of these things. What are precedent? What are case laws? Everything. And I'm going to take you through various case laws. This is going to be a very long journey. This is something that we are going to, we are taking this hands on. We are starting this journey today. It's going to be a long one. So stick with me. 3 days a week, TTS, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'm going to tell you very interesting things about the Indian law and the international law and a lot of other things. But you'll have to be very patient for that. Okay. Now, Sharia law is the only law that is based on Islam. So you see, law is a global concept. If you look at law, what makes a law? Tell me, what makes a law? What is a law? And why do we need a law? Why do we need a law? Because, I mean, if you go back thousands of years ago, what was human? Where did humans live? We used to live in the jungle. We used to live in the jungle. Now, if you follow the law of the jungle, what is the law of the jungle? What is the law of the jungle? Yes, tell me. What is the law of the jungle? What is the law of the jungle? Yes. What does the law of the jungle say? The more powerful eats the less powerful. But because we are into, but this law of the jungle, it applies to animals. Does it apply to humans as well? If you look at the jungle, the lion who's considered the king of the jungle, uh, eats the deer or the buffalo, which is the less powerful. If you look at like Ice Age and even before that, I mean, all of us have heard it, that there used to be dinosaurs and they used to rule the land. But today, who rules the land? In this day and age, who rules the land? And who has been ruling the land since years and thousands of years? Who has been ruling the lands? Tell me. Human beings. And if you look at human beings, so we are human beings, and we know that as human beings, we are social animals. What are we? We are social animals. And just that phrase, if you look at that phrase, the phrase of being social animals, human beings are social animals. And when you want to be social, if you want to be social, what is it that you have to do? You have to follow certain rules of the society. You have to follow because where does the word social come from? Yes, tell me. Where does the word social come from? Tell me. Yes, where does the word social come from? Come on, guys. I would love if you'll answer, please. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Society. The word social comes from society. Follow the rules of the society. Now tell me, who makes these rules? Who makes these rules? How do human beings make these? Societies of human beings only. But how do we make these rules? How do we make these rules? How do we make these rules? Official bodies. But we what we do is we elect a leader. So human beings elect a leader. If you look at human beings, typically they've always elected leaders, whether in the form of kings, in the form of ministers, prime ministers, presidents. They've always elected leaders. Human beings have always elected leaders which have led them. So if you look at human beings, we are, and what does the king do? It could be a king, it could be the prime minister, it could be the president, right? Right? We've always been electing kings, and what do they do? Tell me, what do they do generally? They make the laws. So ultimately, the stronger always makes laws for the weak. The strong guy will always make a law for the weak. Do you want to know how? Suppose there is a cinema hall, right? And you are standing over here to take a ticket, right? You are standing here. There are two people here. Now a very large guy with huge muscle somehow comes in the line. What will you do? A very large guy, some Jat from Noida or Haryana, he comes and he joins the line in between, just right before you. The law says that no one should break the line, but you are in a cinema line. What will you do? You are taking tickets. What will you do? And this guy comes suddenly and you tell him that, hello, Mr. Mehak is saying, tell him to follow rules. What I would do personally, I would just tell him that you please continue, because I'm not going to fight him. So the stronger will always rule the weak, and this is the law of the jungle. This is the law of nature, that the stronger always rules the weak. You are not physically very strong, but mentally if you're strong, you can rule 130 crore people. Look at Mr. Modi. Look at the Prime Minister. Do you think he's physically very strong? He might be the weakest at this age, physically, 70 plus, 71. He might be the weakest at this age. But he rules the 130 crore population. Lakhs and crores of people today follow him. They do what he says. Do you know why? Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why. Why so many? Why? How can he rule 150 crore people? Because he's mentally very strong. He's very strong mentally. He's very headstrong. When he decides on something, he does it. He's able to take the decisions in the best manner possible for the country, and the country trusts him, and he's built that trust over the years. So, ultimately human beings elect a leader, and that leader rules them. So we are back to the jungle. Somehow we are back to the jungle. Yes? Yes or no? We are somehow back to the jungle. Now, see, earlier in times, there used to be kings. Whatever king used to say, that used to become the law. But later on, democracies developed, right? And in a democracy, there's an elected leadership where people elect the people by whom they want, that, okay, this person should be my leader, right? But, law is a global concept. It is usually organized on national lines, and there is only a limited amount of, actually international law cannot exist. There is very limited international law. So when we study F4, that is the global law, we read about the national laws that have been examples for other countries who are developing their legal system. For example, the common law. Common law has been adopted by UK, by US, by so many countries, India, to make their national law. And there have been model laws by the international bodies like United Nations. They develop model laws, which are then followed by the countries. So United Nations, and there are other organizations as well, which develop the model laws. They develop the model laws, right? Now, see, there are three legal systems in this entire world. Majorly three. Okay, there could be others, but there are three major systems, which I've already told you about, which are common law, civil law, and Sharia law. But if you look at why do you have laws, you'll have to consider something known as economy. And if you want to consider something known as economy, you'll have to consider something known as geography. This is India. This is India. If you look at India, India is surrounded by what? On three sides. Yes, tell me. What is India surrounded by? I don't know why you guys don't answer. Yes, India is surrounded by water. On the three sides, it's surrounded by water. And that is why you'll see India has very, very strong custom laws. Custom laws is anything that's coming in the country, because the entire Northern Asia depends on India for transportation. So many countries like Mongolia, which is landlocked, countries like Afghanistan, again landlocked, many more countries. Many more countries, if you see, they are dependent on India. So there is very important to have, it is very important to have very strong custom laws. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll just have some water. Okay. Yeah. So it's very important to have very strong custom laws, because this is where most of the money comes in. Another very important thing, which is demography. You know, we are a very populous state, 1.3 crore. 1.3 billion people we have. And the educated population of India is an English speaking population. It is an English speaking population. And in that English speaking population, you'll see that there are many engineers. So geography and demography, that determines the economy of a country. Geography and demography. 1.3 billion people, out of which majorly they are English speaking. A lot of them are English speaking. And on the top of that, most of the people who are students, most of the students are engineers. And that led to the growth of the Indian IT industry, because you can find talent very easily in India. English speaking, knows computers. Okay, good for IT. English speaking, Done engineering, good at maths and all, bring him, we'll train him and we'll do work. And that is why you'll see that IT boomed in India. There was an IT boom in the early 2000s. And that's where TCS, that's where Infosys, that's where companies like HCL, they became so big. Companies like Wipro, those became very big. Okay. So demography and geography defines the economy. Geography plus demography. You'll always see. And right now, with the way people are gravitating towards finance and general skill sets of finance, which is Excel, financial modeling, ACCA, CMA, these things are very, very important. So if you look at geography plus demography, you'll see that this influences how the economy behaves. Why India is not a good manufacturing nation? Do you know that? Why is India not a good manufacturing nation? Yes, can someone tell me? Why is India not a good manufacturing nation? Okay, unskilled labor and what else? Most of the population lacks skill and knowledge. Not so much, because if you can do IT, you can do manufacturing. It's not a very big thing. One of the reasons is infrastructure. People, the governments that we've had, particularly governments before this government, they've never tried to they've never tried to look towards infrastructure. And for manufacturing, you need good roads. If you don't have good roads, what will happen? If I produce something here in Chennai, I'm not in Chennai, but what if I produce something in Chennai? Then what happens? Tell me, what happens if I produce something in Chennai? Then how am I going to take it to the port? And how am I going to take it to Mumbai, where the consumption might be there? How am I going to take it to Bangalore if without good infrastructure? So Indian governments, particularly the government before this government, they did not focus so much on infrastructure. And I think that is one reason why we have had to suffer. Why we had to suffer? Because of the infrastructure. One reason, infrastructure. That's why we never had good manufacturing. But with the current regime, I am very, very positive. And on the Indian growth story, I am very positive. Because, we are a nation of 1.3 billion people. And we are very hardworking people. We work 16 hours a day. Normal average Indian works 16 hours a day. At least 12 to 15 hours. Everybody works. We are a generation of we are a nation of very hardworking people. And we have the hunger. And trust me, if you have the hunger, you can go a very long way. Okay. Right. So that's how you'll see that, mostly economy, and with economy is dictates the legal system. Economy will always dictate the legal system. So why common law is adopted across the world with many countries? Any idea why? Why common law has been adopted across many countries? It is something known as the colonial hangover. The colonial hangover. Can someone tell me what is it? And this, it is due to this colonial hangover that even today the one pound is equal to 100 rupees. Pound is the most valuable currency of the world. 1 pound is 100 rupees. It is very valuable. Although obviously every country wants to have dollars, but if you look at the price of pound, the price of pound is way above that of dollar, and that is due to colonial hangover. Now tell me, can someone tell me what is colonial hangover? Yes, because, and what was that country? What was the name of that country? The name was England. So United Kingdom, not necessarily England, the United Kingdom, it ruled over most of the earth. So I think 2/3 of the earth UK ruled. And because UK ruled over 2/3 of the earth, most of the people speak English. You'll see across the world, people speak English. One reason, colonial hangover. If you look at most of the people, they followed common law. So reason, colonial hangover. So ex-empires, if you look at Canada, you look at most of the other countries, European countries, European countries follow civil law. But if you look at India, if you look at US, so they were Canada, US, India, they were all ex-British colonies, and that's why we study common law, and our law is also based on common law only. But one thing that the Britain did not have and we have is the constitution. Britain never had a written constitution. Okay, so common law is named after historic system formulated in England. Okay, let's talk about the common law now. So common law, it is the system named after a historic system formulated in England, right? And it is very common to get confused, right? So legal system is named after a distinctive source of law within itself, right? So even common law is not one book, right? Common law is not a single book of all the laws that are there. It itself comprises of multiple case laws, right? So it developed in the common law was developed in England. The common law was developed in England, but you'll see it has been exported to many ex-British Empire and Commonwealth countries. So example, the law has been exported to the United States of America, right? So because USA was a colony of US, so US after many years, after seeing that the kind of growth that the United States did, and United States obviously demanded for their own freedom, so ultimately UK had to leave it. But India was not granted freedom due to the fight and everything. India was not granted freedom due to anyone's struggle or anything. People say Gandhi got us freedom. Nothing of that sort. None of that sort happened. Not Gandhi, not any freedom fighter. I mean, they all played a part. But you cannot say that this person got us freedom. If you want to attribute your freedom to one person, do you know who should you attribute it to? Do you know who should you attribute your freedom to? No, not Bose. Not Bose. He is not an Indian. The person who is responsible for your freedom is not an Indian. No, not Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh died in 1923. 24 years later, we got our freedom. Bhagat Singh, I think he died in 1931. So some 16 years later, we got our freedom. One person who you can attribute your freedom to. And not just you, it was 57 countries who got freedom. And one man. Let's see who takes the name of that one man. Let me see who takes the name of that one man. You can say that these 57 countries owe their freedom to this guy. Yes, the name is Adolf Hitler. It is because of the Second World War. Second World War. That Britain lost its economic resources to rule any country. And it said that we cannot rule any country now. The smaller countries it used to rule, it left it after some 1950, 1960s. And that is how India also got its freedom in 1947. So one man, Adolf Hitler, because he was on the conquest of the world. He wanted to conquer the entire Europe. And you know, he was right also. Hitler was right also. You know, these Europeans, they just keep taking loans. And they don't, and ultimately France and Germany have to pay it back. So Europe either belongs to France or to Germany. So Hitler was not wrong in that. So if one man you can, you know, say that this man got us the freedom, it was Mr. Adolf Hitler, right? Okay. So we read about common law. Now the next part is the civil law. So basically civil law originated in continental Europe. So it originated in continental Europe. But obviously, because even Europe in the Roman era, it has, it has ruled a large part of the world. For example, if you see South America, South Americans speak which language? What is one language that South Americans speak? Tell me. You can always find the hints in modern world. South Americans speak which language? Tell me. Tell me, what is that one language which Brazil and people speak? Tell me. Mostly South Americans speak that one language. No, it's not Portuguese. They speak Spanish. If you see, there is a movie called Money Heist. Have you seen Money Heist? And it's made in Spanish. A very small nation in the context of modern world called Spain ruled the entire South America. Just imagine a small nation, Spain. And that is one reason entire South America speaks Spanish. Right? So you'll often find that, South Americans, they will speak Spanish. right? So civil law, it originated in continental Europe, and obviously you've seen Roman Empire, you've seen there are so many empires that Europe had. So, but civil law system is much younger to the common law, but the heritage is old because Europe was even before and during the rule of UK as well. Even most of the some of the states of India were not entirely ruled by UK. Some of the parts of India were not ruled by UK. For example, if you look at Pondicherry, Pondicherry was not ruled by UK. Do you know this? Pondicherry was not ruled by UK. Tell me which country ruled Pondicherry? Tell me which country ruled Pondicherry? Because whenever you are reading law, you have to read it from the angle of history. Law is something that you have to read from an angle where you understand how it's coming from. Yes. So if you look at Pondicherry, French ruled Pondicherry and not UK. The French people ruled Pondicherry. It was a French colony. And that is why if you look at the UK and the European lineage, heritage, it's equally old. But if you look at Indian heritage, it's older than that. Because there are proofs that Bhagavad Gita, which was written some 5,000 years ago. Okay, you'll have to give me some time. My Apple Pencil needs charging. I'll have to charge it. If you look at Bhagavad Gita, there have been proofs that it was written some 5,000 years ago. You cannot have something so concrete talking about almost all the facets of life. Bhagavad Gita talks about everything, written 5,000 years ago. We have such an old lineage, right? So, civil law, obviously, it originated in continental Europe. The systems are much younger, but Europeans had this one thing, they used to codify their law, right? They come from old legal heritages, but generally you'll see that Code Germany or Code Napoleon, it was a codified law. So civil law used to be codified. In modern times, you will see that civil and common law, they share some elements, but there are differences. For example, in the common law, the judges are allowed to interpret the law, but in civil law, judges are not allowed to interpret the law. They are only authorized to apply the law. There's a difference. To interpret the law means finding its meaning, but to apply the law means applying it as it is written. Okay, just give me 2 to 5 minutes. My Apple Pencil will also get charged, and I'll also give some rest to my throat. So just give me 2 to 5 minutes. I'll explain again. We will have a very detailed discussion on application and interpretation. But interpretation means finding out the meaning of what is written in the law. What was the intention of the law, right? For example, when I say that the law states that you should not indulge in insider trading. So what is insider trading? Interpret what is insider trading. What will not consist of insider trading? So all those powers are given in the judiciary, in the common law. But if you look at civil law, those powers are not given. In the civil law, those powers are not given. So in the civil law, they just have to apply the law. Because they are codified laws, then there is no power to interpret them, to find out what was the intention or what was the purpose of the law. Okay. Yes. Harkirat, does that answer your question? Okay. Just give me 2 to 5 minutes. My Apple Pencil will also get charged. I will also be back. Okay. So I hope this works now. Right. So civil law, it originated in continental Europe. So generally you'll find examples of Code Napoleon, Code Germany. So these are codified laws. What is codified law? Which is bound in, in kind of a book with sections and clauses and articles. Right. So for example, if you look at Constitution of India, it's a codified law, but common law is not a codified law. Are you able to understand the difference? Common law is not written in any book. But if you look at Contract Act, that is a codified law. If you look at Companies Act is a codified law, right? Civil law is generally a codified law. Okay. Yes. Are you able to understand? Yes, people. Yes, come on. Can I have a quick yes? Quick yes, people, if I'm able to make myself clear till this point. Yes. Harkirat, Khushi, Mehek, Lakshya, Rishita. Okay. So that was civil law. Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now the third type of law, which we will be discussing further, like others as well. We'll be discussing Sharia. We'll be discussing common civil and Sharia in detail also. This is not the end of this, so don't worry. Sharia law. Sharia law, basically it's based on the religion of Islam, right? So it's based on the religion of Islam. So only legal system which is based on a religion. So you'll often see it's a legal system bound in the religion of Islam. So it's different in purpose and practice. So in both so for example, in Sharia law, females cannot become judges. Is that uh, something which is differentiating or not? Is that differentiating or not? Is that discriminating or not? In a Sharia law, females cannot become judges. Whereas in common law and civil law, you'll find that females are judges. And the only reason females cannot become judges is because the clerics don't think so. And you'll see that Islam and the source is Quran. The source of Sharia law is Quran. But if you look at Quran is open to interpretation all around the world. If you look at Quran, it is open to interpretation all around the world, which means that, jihad has a different meaning in Iraq, and jihad has a different meaning in Dubai. Because Sharia law, it's different in purpose and practice, and it is open to interpretation. And who are the judges? Judges are not any qualified people in Sharia law. These are clerics. Clerics like Maulana. Have you seen Maulanas? The people who perform marriages. So those are the judges in Sharia law. And they say that females cannot be judges. Females can be prime ministers. But it is due to wrong interpretation of the cleric. And I think that is one reason, because of such interpretation of the Islamic law, the Quran across the world, that you will see most of the Islamic countries, they are failing today. In 10 years time, 10 to 20 years time, the entire Middle East is going to fall. Do you know why? Because one thing that it runs on, one thing that keeps the economy afloat, what is it? the entire Middle East is going to fall in 10 years because they don't have any education system. Crude oil. They are running on oil. And the nationals, they don't have many nationals. The local people are not at all there. And these guys are running on just oil. And you'll see in 10 to 20 years, entire Middle East, except for Dubai and Saudi, they'll fall. Except for Dubai and Saudi. Saudi has also, taken steps now that they know that, depending on just oil will not help in any way. So they know and they see, and they have realized this, that, oil is just very limited, because now there is electric cars, EVs, electric vehicles. So if you look at EVs and you see right now the technology is not very easily available, but so it was 50 years ago for the normal car, but it did improve, right? And you'll see that once EV technology is common, oil will disappear, or probably it'll fall down in price. Because if you can charge your vehicle inside your house, inside your home, why will you go and pay money to a petrol pump? Then what all businesses will fail? Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Reliance Petrochemicals. It is going to fail. Reliance has taken a very good step. It has diluted 25% to Saudi Aramco, because it realizes that it cannot keep on running on oil. Yes, refinery is a cash crop for Saudi, for Reliance. Refinery is a cash crop, but it cannot be forever, because someday we will see that the oil-based economy will fall. Okay, so this is one thing, which is the types of laws across the legal systems across the world. Now I told you that, geography and demography determines the economy, and economy determines the politics. So geography plus demography, this will determine the politics. This will determine the economics, and economics will determine the politics. Do you know, on an economic level, India's economic policy hasn't really changed in the past 30 years. Economics will determine politics. And again, politics will determine demography. So it's a vicious cycle. Someone needs to make a change somewhere. So in the last 30 years, India's economic policy has not changed. We are still an open country, and we continue to be the open country. We continue to control some parts, and we continue to, decentralize some parts. Okay. Right? Yes. Yes. Are you guys able to understand this? All of this, whatever I'm saying. Yes. Are you guys able to understand? Can I have a quick yes or no? Now, the next thing that we are going to study about is the economic systems around the world. It is the economic systems. Let us understand each one by one. Economic systems around the world. Economic systems. Now, if you look at economic systems, so basically it means what to produce, how to produce, and for whom 2. What, how, and for whom. So how basically the governments decide how something is going to be produced by the government or by the private sector. So basis how something is going to be produced is decided that how the type of economy is going to be. So basically we are going to study about three types of economies. One is a planned economy, second is a market economy, and third is a mixed economy. So sir, what is a planned economy? Yes, tell me, what is a planned economy? Planned economy generally is controlled by the government. Controlled by the government. Right. Where, there is generally, so can you give me an example of a controlled economy? Government fixes how much will be produced and who is going to produce what. China is not a controlled economy. China is a free market economy. But can you give me an example of a controlled economy? Yes. Tell me. One example of a controlled economy. Railways is a sector. It's not a economy is an entire country. Economy means US. How come US is planned? Us, which means India. North Korea, you can say. Yes, sir. North Korea is a planned economy and it's a failed economy. One more example. One good example. North Korea is again, planned economy, failed economy. One good example. Yes. One good example of a planned economy. A South American country. One South American country, it's a very, very, it's a very well planned economy. But generally, till date, everything is controlled by the government. And that is one reason for the, low livelihood of the people there. They don't have very fancy cars or they don't have the latest things. So one country, one very good country, would someone like to tell me? No, Brazil is a free economy. Brazil is kind of India. It's a mixed economy. Brazil is a mixed economy. But this country is very close to Brazil. Yes, tell me. This country is very close to Brazil. The name is Cuba. If you look at Cuba, Cuba is centrally planned, but it's so beautifully planned that nobody ever feels that we should not be a planned economy. Nobody ever feels that, and they have this thing of nationalism. They have this thing that our government does so much for us. And you look at most of the communist countries in entire world, North Korea, Cuba, Russia, most of these, they are centrally planned because it suits them. The communist culture suits a planned economy. They don't want power in the hands of people, of a few. They don't want the power to be concentrated in the hands of a few people. For example, if you look at India, who are the two most powerful people in India? Tell me, who are the two most powerful people of India? No, not president. President has no power. Real power. I'm not talking political power. Real power. Who has real power in India? Tell me, who has real power in India? No prime, not prime minister. Harkirat is right. Mr. Ambani and Mr. Adani. These are the two most powerful people in India. One knows who you are talking to and where you are talking to. And one controls all the ports. Nothing can come or go out of India without his permission. If Adani does not permit you, you cannot go out of the country. Welcome to the new India. This is a problem. When a country migrates from a planned economy to a free market economy, and it confuses itself, and which is exactly what happened with Russia. And same thing is now happening to it. It used to be a mixed economy, but now we are moving towards a free economy. And that is why you can see that Mr. Ambani and Mr. Adani, almost they are the most powerful two people of India. Tomorrow there'll be someone else, obviously. No one is there forever. Nobody can stay forever. You know, if people in the BJP, they think they're going to stay there forever. No. Because no one's been there forever. You know, even Hitler's rule came to an end. So everyone's rule comes to an end. Trump's rule came to an end. But this is a problem. Right? If you look at Russia, I think Russia is a very good example of how and why a planned economy should not move towards a free market. Because right now, if you see, the entire economy of Russia is in the hands of a few people. Monopolies are being created in Russia. And India has always followed Russia. If you tell me that it is due to the current, if you tell me that this is due to the current government, I don't agree. The current government was not the one where Mr. Ambani became the richest man of India. He was already the richest man of India. You know, he was already the richest man of India. 2013. Google it. 2013, richest man in India. Mukesh Ambani. It is not due to the current government. It is due to the failed policies of every government that we've had. That's why I say governments have very little role to play. But little does not mean insignificant. Yes, the government did dilute their control. But what option did they have? What option did they have other than not doing it? India is not paying taxes. Indians are not investing in share market. How do you think economy is supposed to grow? In USA, 50 to 60% of the people invest in share markets. Just 2%, or I think 1 or 2% invest in India. If you're not investing in the capital markets, how are people supposed to grow? So that is a major problem. Okay, so the planned economy is where the decisions and choices about resource allocation, that's made by the government, and money values are attached to resources and to goods and services, but it is the government which decides what resources will be used, how much has to be paid for them, and what goods should be made, and what the price is going to be. Although the individual, he may be allowed to own some personal possessions, but mostly wealth in a planned economy will not be available for individual ownership, because this is pure communist culture. This is pure communist culture. They do not, somehow they don't like it when people own resources. This is pure communist culture. Okay. Secondly, market economy. What is a market economy? Basically, where prices are determined by demand and supply. Market forces will demand and supply. Market forces, that is the market forces. The market forces are going to determine everything. Now, in a market economy, most of the wealth is owned by the individuals and minimum wealth is collectively owned. So mostly wealth is owned by individuals. Okay. Yes. So market, an example. If I ask you for an example, very easy. What is the example? Yes. United States, United Kingdom. So these are mostly market economies, right? Yes. Any other example? US, UK, China. Yes, China is again market economy. China and South Korea. India now mostly. India now, if you see, mostly India is also a fully market economy. Except I don't think anything else. Defense manufacturing is also now in private hands. So it's not, that is not also a, something that it's not a market. It's not a mixed economy anymore. Mixed economy. So prices are decided by market forces, which is demand and supply. But in a few sectors, government control is there. So few sectors are controlled by, few of the sectors are controlled by the government. Few sectors. Example, India, Brazil again, India, Brazil. So few sectors are controlled by the government. Generally, what happens is mostly market forces determine the prices of the commodities, right? So mostly all of the modern economies, they are mixed economies. If you look at any economy, generally there is no economy that is 100% mixed, 100% market based or 100% planned economy. Mostly economies, if you see in today's day and age, see media, although it is private, but it has some laws. What you can show in the media and what you cannot show in the media, there are differences to that. Okay. So again, you'll see that, there are market forces and the government which control things. Okay. Now, these are the economic systems. So next type of system that we are going to study is the political systems. Next is the political systems. Now, what are the political systems? If you look at political systems, there are three types of political system. Can someone tell me? There are broadly three types of political system, and every type of political system suits different type of economy, because politics will directly affect the laws. There are three types of political system. One is a democracy. Democracy example, yes, where people choose. Monopoly is not a political system. Democracy, where people choose who rules them, right? Example, monopoly is a kind of a market where there is just one player. India. India is a democracy. India is a democracy. For example, Khushi, if you look at telecom in India, if you look at telecom, it's almost a monopoly with Jio having absolute control of the entire system. But I think now it's from a monopoly, it's come down to a duopoly where Jio and Airtel, they have the complete control. It's a duopoly, right? Telecom sector. Railways, if you see, it's a monopoly of the government. If you look at, if you look at German cars, that's again a monopoly, right? Okay, democracy. Second is dictatorship. Dictatorship. Yes, give me an example of dictatorship. Man with short hairs, Hitler. Man with short hairs, very healthy, wealthy man. Little man with short hairs, shares borders with China. North Korea. North Korea, China. These are all dictatorships. Where North Korea is a failed dictatorship, Pakistan is not a dictatorship. Pakistan is a military state. Pakistan, if you'll see prime ministers are always propped up in Pakistan. So Pakistan is not a dictatorship. It's a military state. And third is a monarchy, right? Third is the monarchy. Now in the entire world, there are no monarchies. But if you look at, 10 years ago, there were monarchies. For example, I think Iran is still a monarchy. If you look at Nepal was a monarchy till some time back, right? So in a democracy, generally there is separation of powers between who's the head of the state and who's the head of the executive. Kushi wanted to say monarchy. Okay, taken, accepted. Accepted. Yes, monarchy is where the king rule. So I don't think there is any real example of a monarchy in this day and age, right? So there are different factors where rule of the law is there, right? So in a dictatorial system, you will see that the emphasis on state or government regulation and control of the resources. So governments control the resources. So freedom is subjected to who's ruling you. But if you look at democracies or free political systems, it's also known as laissez. It's also known as laissez faire. So known as laissez faire. So if you look at this political system, it's a democracy, right? And these democracies will generally show you that emphasis is on sorting problems where they arise. It's not about ruling anyone. So individuals have to act within the four corners of the law. Not that you tomorrow go and shoot someone. That's beyond the powers of law. You can stay, you can live, you can do business, free trade. Thailand is a monarchy. Okay, good example. We'll write example is Thailand. But I think they have complete democracy there with the kind of image that they have. I think they have complete democracy. Japan is again democracy. Japan, very symbolic monarchy is there. Japan is not a monarchy. Japan has very symbolic monarchy. They have elections and the head of the executive is not the monarch. And in that way, so Britain is also a monarchy, but right now there is no rule of the queen. There is a prime minister. Okay. And also there is separation of powers. So let's talk a bit where I can, just give you a introduction, and then we can continue in the next class on Saturday about separation of powers. Separation of powers basically means that the person making the law, the person who's making the law is different from the person who is implementing the law, or the people who are implementing the law, and that is different from the person who is interpreting the law. It is different from the person who is interpreting the law. The people who interpret the law, and you will see the people who are making the law. This is known as legislators, or this is the legislature. People who make the law it is an elected legislature. For example, the parliament. In India, you have the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. In UK, you have the House of Commons and the House of Lords. You have House of Commons and House of Lords. India, you have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Then there is the person who are implementing the law. They are the executive, which means the people who form the government, people who are in the majority. Generally, this is the prime minister with his council of ministers. Prime minister with his council of ministers. So PM with his other ministers. For example, Modi ji and Nirmala ji and Jairam ji and Gadkari ji and lot of ji, they're all executive. Who are interpreting the law? This is the work of the court. So generally, if you see, the highest court is the Supreme Court. Then there is High Court. And then there is County Court or Magistrates Court. County Court. Okay. So who is interpreting the law? It is the court. So it is different. So legislature, executive, and court, or you can call it a judiciary. This is a judiciary. Okay. So this is basically the separation of powers. Okay. In UK, if you will see, who is implementing the law in UK, it is the Conservative Party. There are two national parties in UK. Majorly, there are two national parties, which is the Conservative and the Liberals. And there is also a Labour Party, which has done recently, they've done well, but generally Conservative and the Liberals. The Prime Minister is either from the Conservative or the Liberals. So now you'll see that Conservatives are currently ruling the United Kingdom. Okay. So they become the executive, they are the ones who are implementing the law. Okay. So if you look at interpretation of the law, so county court, and there are two types of law. So which is civil law and criminal law. This is not the civil law of Europe. This is a branch of law, civil law and criminal law. Whatever is not criminal is civil. Okay. Whatever is not criminal law, it is civil law, right? So role of judiciary is to interpret and apply the law. Interpret and apply. Interpret and apply. So the role of judiciary is to interpret the law and apply the law, right? So this is what I intended to do today with you, which we have done. Next time we will read about the legal systems, and in detail we'll study about what is common law, how it was born, what is equity, then what are the case laws, what is a precedent, and I'll be doing with you lot of case laws. In my last lecture also, in my last, which I took last year, I did a series of case laws. I mean, on everything we used to discuss case law, and that is what actually built the foundation for students. So, and the same foundation I want for you also to build. That is why I have a series of case laws which we are going to do in at every point, at least when we are understanding the legal systems. When we move towards more advanced topics like the company's law and the other laws, then we will not discuss so many. But as of now, we will discuss a lot of case laws so that you have a good foundation to build on. Right. That's it for now. So I'll be open for anything that you want to ask me, any questions, suggestion, feedback. You can definitely tell me. And in the meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll just share the notes today. I'll share this thing as well. The notes for today. Just share it. In the meantime, you can just ask me anything or anything that you want to discuss. Okay, let me just share it to the group on WhatsApp. Till you can. Yes, guys, anything that you want to ask me, please feel free. There should be nothing that we should not be able to talk about. Anything else that you want to talk, job, this, that, XYZ, anything. Anything that you want to talk to me about. Yes, Harkirat, tell me. Yes, ready to exam. Tell me. What is the query? So, okay, Khushi, since you've asked the question, so I'll answer you first, and then when Harkirat asks, then I'll answer him. So, if your CV is not strong, do certifications, do courses, do practical courses. You could do financial modeling, you could do Excel-based courses. You can do a lot of things. Yes, you can give F4, not a problem. Even if you've not done F2, not a problem, you can give F4. Once you are enrolled, you can give F4. Even my students have done F4 before F2. Don't worry. Also, get anywhere. First, your first job, you don't think too much that whether I go to Big Four, whether I'll get an investment bank, this, that. Don't think so much. Just focus on getting anything which builds your CV. You can always take a shift. You can always take a jump, right? You can always take a leap forward. Yes. Okay. Okay. No problem. You can give F4. Don't worry. You can appear for F4. anything you can do. You can do some Excel based courses. You can do Excel based courses, or you can do communication skills Excel based courses. So definitely you could focus on those. Tally tally, yes, Tally you can do. Tally is a good course. It'll tell you a lot about accounting and all. You'll get a feel of how to work with softwares. It is the most basic software, so I think it's a good course at your level. Do a Tally based course, not a problem. Okay, guys, then I'll see you next time. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Namaskar. Thank you. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye, Harkidat. Thank you, Khushi. Bye bye.